Hello, I welcome everyone watching Sotnik-TV channel this moment. It's February 10th, 2020. It's Monday and to be honest, the beginning of the week seems some nightmare. All those news, but we'll have to discuss what we have. My today's companion is Dmitry Potapenko, a known economist and businessman. Hello, Dmitry. Good day. The deputy of the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Pankin, declared that Nord Stream 2 pipeline would still be constructed despite that attitude shown by the US. Those are the intrigues of the imperialists. Yes, I mean the intrigues. Despite the intrigues, you must have forgotten your line. We had that before. There was a time we reproduced those lines. Those are the intrigues of the imperialistic United States, predators and our enemies. Those are the enemies of socialism, communism and Czechism. Along with that, the share of the high-tech equipment bought by Russian state-owned companies abroad makes 95%. There's no way I could correlate that. So Russia is completing the construction on its own. Yet where does it take an equipment from? It will try to take the equipment the same way it used during that story over Siemens turbines. Yes, those were the turbines by Siemens. Here's what we have. They will try to buy time. They can't allow themselves simply admitting they have screwed up. We all are insane and we cannot do without technologies from abroad. No one can say such thing because that requires a political willingness. And once there's none, they will try to steal some equipment, to bring some in through the third world countries, and maybe to reproduce some equipment that will sure turn out non-functioning. So can Nord Stream 2 be constructed? Well, you see, can you meet a dinosaur? I guess there's a chance of that, but I don't think so. Yet, in theory, you can. Some genetic engineering could help. Well, in theory, I can meet even a Pokemon. Exactly. There you go. The chance of such event may be extremely remote. So, can Nord Stream 2 construction be completed? Yes, it can. My answer is yes. Regarding the chance of that being constructed soon, I remember them announcing that started by 2019. Now they're saying that will be 2021. But something will sure occur by that date as well. So let me agree with all that experts saying that construction can be completed. It makes no problem for us to build Nord Stream 2 out of shit and sticks. Here's another question. Vladimir Putin has declared that the situation was getting turbulent, so it was the time to set a fair world order. Well, under Putin, Russia has already achieved a lot in Syria, so now it's time to achieve around the rest of the planet. What fairness will Putin achieve as a result of all that? Is he preparing another big war? Talking doesn't mean doing. There are military dying in Syria, and I bring my sorrow to their families. Those military knew about the risk. They're mercenaries and know where they are going. Yet it's not their family's fault. They have fathers, mothers, children and wives. So I bring my sorrow to their families. Now regarding a big war, that simply can't happen. A big war requires resources, and Syria illustrates that. Some private military companies act there. Those are some mercenaries and half-mercenaries with some support. Russia has never participated directly or indirectly in a war with a good support. Can you name any war with a good support? Was that Ossetia or maybe Donbass? Or Transnistria? What was the victorious war that would end up like that? Let me remind you that all those territories I named above have their economy totally ruined. And propagandists often tells us that our military is #1 in the world. So how come the best military in the world unable to take over those lands just like a bull would take over a lapdog? We're unable to take over Georgia or Ukraine or Syria. What is the reason? Well, the reason is the lack of that technical support, with men, with troops and so on. They couldn't do nothing but some poking. So a full-scale war is something that modern Russia simply can't wage. What they do is poking with some fake special operations. What progress have they made in Syria or in Ossetia or in Donbass? Those are some minor festering conflicts. Once we get cynical and do the math there, we discover no progress. Yet they can bully. Russia has almost made an ultimatum to Norway over Spitsbergen. So is there another beef with Norway coming? That is nothing but talks. We should calm down and may even start supporting that ultimatum. Because discussing that makes no sense. They can declare a war against some planet Nauru as well. I would support that, by the way. Why would we discuss something that cannot be implemented? We need to stay highly pragmatic. That is the only way to keep the brain clean and sober. Here comes the two leaks I received one after another yesterday and earlier today. Here's the first one. Let me note right away, those are mutually exclusive. Yet, since I have promised to share the leaks I would receive with you, I will keep my word. So I'm passing on what they told me. Here's how the first story goes. Putin has stage 4 colon cancer. There are mets in his pelvis. He is supposed to get surgery in 2 months. So Putin is in a great rush now. The chance of healing is small. So he's rewriting the constitution, shuffling the state structure. I know what colon cancer is. A close relative of mine has died from that. I was watching that happening. The terms are really severe in such case. As in stage 3 or 4, a patient has 4 to 5 months to live after the surgery. Well, half a year would look like some miracle. And after 2.5 months past the surgery, the quality of life drops rapidly. The patient loses touch with the reality, starts living in his own world and simply goes insane. He fades inexorably, as that thing is a death verdict. Once the leak is true, it won't be long. There are 2 months prior to the surgery and 4 to 5, or let's even make it 6 months after. So that makes 7 to 8 months in total. So August, September or October should be marked with either exposing the lie of that leak or with the funeral run celebrated popularly. And here comes the second leak that totally cancels the previous one. That was reported by a person close to the physicist who has examined Vladimir Putin few days ago. After the hockey game with Alexander Lukashenko. You may recall them competing on ice recently. Let me quote. They brought him for back exam after the game. Putin's health is really good. He will outlive the rest of us, considering the fact of him investing huge funds into rejuvenation drugs development. His liver is slightly unwell, yet that is his age. The patient has changed his nutrition. He now only has seasonal vegetables that make natural and healthy diet. Such balanced diet, along with such professional health-preserving approach, can easily guarantee Putin another 20 years. End of quote. So let us check those two leaks that are totally controversial. It's good to have one of those linked to the exact term of 7 to 8 months. Then we will see, then we will present a bill to that insider, as there is simply no miracle cure from such illness that will make that insider a liar. Moving back to the main story. Unfortunately, that is the story over the state repression wheel spinning. How far can that insane system go? What needs to be done by those unable to save themselves living, unable to evacuate, as literally no one can feel safe from now on? They may come for anyone. That was what we discussed with Boris Stomahin, a former political prisoner. Next, see a part of our conversation. That verdict over the network case was something terrible. Everyone got outraged and the entire internet has been bubbling since yesterday. I cannot name that other than a barbarity act. I feel terribly sorry for those people suffering for nothing. Their testimony was collected under torture. They were electrocuted, they were beaten up, abused and insulted. They went to prison for nothing. Unfortunately, they haven't done anything incriminated, yet they had to. That's my point. They had to. The actions incriminated to network or to bars, which case is being heard in Königsberg, need to be implemented. As such is the only remaining way of resistance. That system has left no other choice. Boris, you will now talk for a new criminal case, even though you're in Kiev now and have nothing to be afraid of. Let them start another case. I hope, though, they won't be able to get me that easy. Anyways, the truth will find its way no matter what. No legal ways of resistance, like some street posters or court appeals, remain. That system has built a reinforced concrete all-round defense. Everything is defended in depth, and there is no other way to ruin that than suicide bombers, those who decide to put their lives for freedom. That was Boris Stomahin, a former political prisoner. For our own good, we need to listen to the man who personally felt the entire might of merciless, punitive system in Russia. That was what I had to tell and to share with you today, on February 12, 2020. Take care of yourselves, of your hearts and souls. Meet you on Saturday. Goodbye.